Hi everyone, welcome once again to A.O.S Abroad. Thank you very, very much for joining today. Really do appreciate you for coming on board. Thank you so much. I really love having you on board on our live sessions. And today we are going to be having a very educative and entertaining live session. This live session, we are going to be learning about the topic, the required qualified job offer for Canadian permanent residency programs. So once again, welcome to our live session at A.O.S Abroad. Thank you so much for joining today. Really do appreciate everyone for joining. So we are going to be taking a very sensitive topic, as I've said before, the required valid job offer for Canadian permanent residency program. And today we are going to actually be making use of a newsletter article from CIC News. For many of you that always join our live sessions, you know that sometimes we always take or we always review the news article that was published or that is being published by CIC News. CIC News is the Canadian Immigration, Refugees, or Canadian Immigration and Citizenship News. You understand, cicnews.com. So I've actually placed their link or the link of this particular article that we're going to be treating today. I've placed it on the comments section. So should in case you would like to also go what they call it now, go read the article yourself, then please do justice to actually visiting that link. Now we start without wasting much of our time. Let's go into the crux of the matter. What do we have to talk about today? We said our own topic, the required valid job offer for Canadian permanent residency program. But on the CIC news, they asked the question: is a job offer still important? Let me take that again. On the CIC news website, they asked, is a job offer still important for getting Canadian permanent residency? Now, this is very important because many people will be thinking that yes, they have cancelled out the point for the express entry, so we may not really need job offers again. And you may be right in one part of it, and you may still need to actually look into another part. So we are going to be looking at it. What do you need to know about the valid job offer that Canada still has on its, you understand, immigration system? Because it's still in the immigration system, but we need to know where exactly is it. What do you need to focus on? If you are not focusing on job offer again, just like I, for instance, I do always see when I was coming to Canada, I didn't focus on job offer because it is more or less difficult for me to actually get than other people. So I didn't focus on it because I didn't want to struggle with that. So I focused on what I could control, which was, you understand, language results, writing the language test, getting additional credentials, you understand, showing my experience in other NOC codes, showing my experience in other occupations. Those were the things I knew that, yes, I could control, I could get some things without really needing an external, you understand, assistance. So but we are different. Some of you may really want to actually get the job offer, or some of you may already have the job offer and you may be looking at how you are going to make use of the job offer. So today, that is why we are talking about, you understand, is it really necessary? Is it really still important for you to get a job offer for what? For Canadian permanent residency. Now let's read the article. As for those that are joining on YouTube, on you understand, Instagram and on Facebook, I believe you would already be seeing our live and what they call our presentation. Yes, you would already be seeing our presentation. So if you are seeing it, just put a like. You understand? Let us know that you are there. Let us know that you are hearing. You understand all what we are saying. So let's move on. We said despite recent changes to Canada's express entry system, having a job offer is still valuable for anyone who wants to become a permanent resident. So if you want to become a permanent resident like we are in Canada, and you want to come into Canada and be able to actually, you understand, work as well as stay in the country, then you may still need a job offer before you enter the country. Or if you are already in the country, you may still need a job offer to proceed in your what? In your permanent residency process. And they stated on March 25, 2025, which was last month. Thank you very much. I see some likes. Thank you. I see a lot of people liking. I think camera guy, I don't know your name, but thanks for liking on TikTok. Now they said on March 25, 2025, the government of Canada announced that express entry candidates will no longer receive an additional 50 of 200 comprehensive ranking system CRS scores or CRS points for having qualifying arranged employment. And yes, I do always tell people, job offers, do they really matter when it comes to you coming into Canada under express entry? Well, for the Federal Skilled Worker Program, FSWP, under the what? Under the express entry, you may not need it, or you are not even going to, you are not going to get additional points for your job offer. So it may not be really necessary for you to get the job offer under the Federal Skilled Worker Program, because whether the 50 points they would give for skilled workers, those that are under the tier system 2, 3, 4, you understand, or 200 points for those under the tier system 0. You understand? Those managers or 0, 0, you may not actually get, or you will not, don't let me even use me, you will not actually get additional points for it again. So let's now look at it. What can still help you when it comes to immigration? Or which programs do you need to focus on when it comes to immigration? Now, CICnews.com stated, despite this change, those with job offers are still strong candidates for what? Strong candidates for Canadian immigration. And here's why. Why are they still strong candidates for Canada immigration? The reason why they are strong candidates for what? For Canada immigration is because, as they stated, there are other pathways that require job offer. There are other pathways that you can use to become qualified. Not only qualified, there are other pathways you can use to not just be qualified, but to also have the opportunity to get selected under that particular pathway. So let's now look at it. Which of these, which of these pathways do you need to focus on? Which of these pathways can give you that edge above someone that doesn't have that what, that doesn't have that advantage, that doesn't have that benefit? Now they said there are a number of pathways to permanent residency that require candidates to have what, to have a job offer. Now, what are these pathways? Some people will always send me some messages time to time that, oh, don't you know about this pathway? Oh, you just talk about permanent residence, you talk about express entry, you talk about PMP, you talk about Quebec Skilled Worker Program. Don't you know about this program? Don't you know about this? You understand? Are you not talking about this? Just like I said, I don't focus on things I cannot control, which is job offer. Because what, why do I always say you can't control it? Is because you have to seek that job. You understand? You seeking the job, you being qualified for the job, will not mean you get the job. Do you understand? It will not. It may not mean you get the job, because the employer that wants to give you that job may have tens and hundreds of people that qualify for that same job. You understand? And as a result of that, they may pick the best of the best. And when they are picking the best of the best, you may be part of the best, but at the end of the day, they may still what? They may still pick another person apart from you. So you don't actually have the control, you understand, over it. So, but let's now look at it. What are these pathways? They said there are a number of pathways to permanent residence that require candidates to have job offer. The number one pathway that they always talk about is the provincial nominee programs, the job offer streams. Now, they said one route to obtaining Canadian permanent residence is to receive a nomination from a provincial nominee program, a PMP. Now, look at this very critically. Look at this very critically. It's very important. Do you understand? They said almost all provinces of Canada have provincial nominee programs, PMPs, to help meet what? To help meet immigration what? And labor market needs. Now they said the PMPs have multiple immigration streams which group applicants based on what? Their skills, based on their work experience, or their connection to the province. One, whether your skills, whether your work experience, whether your connection to the province. Now, they said out of the 80 plus PMP streams, almost half of the streams require job offer. Now, this is very important. If they say out of the 80 streams that we have, almost half, that means almost 40 or more than 40 of them requires what? Job offers. Me, when I was actually focusing on something or a stream that I could use to move to Canada, I was focusing on the other half that didn't require job offer because I knew at least I could actually strive to meet the demands of those ones. I didn't focus on the ones that require job offers. But again, if you are part of those that want to focus on those that have job offers, there are over 40 plus of them you can actually choose from. So there are a lot. You don't need to focus on just one. You can focus on others too. Now let's look at that. They said getting a job offer from an employer in the province you wish to settle can help you qualify, you understand, for provincial nomination. After obtaining a nomination, you would apply to the what? Federal government or for what? For permanent residency. Do you understand? Now look at this very critically. They are telling you that yes, getting a job offer is required for these provinces. After you have now gotten the job offer, that's when you will now be able, and you have been nominated, of course, by the province. That's when you'll be able to what? You'll be able to apply to the federal government. So you have to do it two ways. You have to first apply to the provincial government to get the nomination before you now apply to the federal government to get the permanent residency. Now that's the number one program. The number two program is the Atlantic Immigration Program. And the Atlantic Immigration Program, it is the program whereby the federal government also has immigration programs that require job offers from designated employers. Like provincial government, when they say PMP just requires you to have a job offer from the province. Do you understand? So any employer from the province that is qualified to, of course, give the job. But when it comes to Atlantic Immigration Program, there are some designated employers that they have been shortlisted by the Atlantic Immigration programs to actually give those jobs. Now, they said one such example is the Atlantic Immigration Program, the AIP, a pathway for permanent residence for skilled workers, skilled foreign workers, and international graduates. So, if for instance you are still back at home, yes, you are a skilled foreign worker, or you are already in Canada, you have studied in Canada, you have gotten certification, you understand, now you now want to proceed to becoming a permanent resident, then you can also apply for this. But it is only meant for those who want to live and work in what? In one of the Canada's 4 Atlantic provinces. What are the Canada 4 Atlantic provinces? There are 4 in number. The 4 of them are number 1, New Brunswick, or New Brunswick, as some people will mention, talk about it. Nova Scotia is second one. Prince Edward Island, and what? Newfoundland and Labrador. Those are the 4 major provinces, or what we call the Atlantic immigration provinces, that would allow you to actually get into the country by virtue of the job offer you get from any of the designated employers in those provinces. Now, we said among other requirements, to be eligible for the AIP, you need a job offer from a designated employer and must have that job offer endorsed by the province. So there's a layer of complexity to this. It's not all job offers that are so-called endorsed. There are some that will not be endorsed and that's why they said designated employers. There are some employers that they have shortlisted to give those job offers. So if you go and get job offer still in the province or maybe Nova Scotia, but it is not part of those designated employers, you may not stand a fair chance. Do you understand? To actually be endorsed by the province. So that is where the layer of complexity comes in. In this kind of province or in this kind of program, it is not only about getting a job offer. Is your job offer from a designated employer? And if it is from a designated employer, is it now endorsed by that province? If they don't endorse it, you are not getting anywhere with your PR or with your permanent residency process. Now, they said the Atlantic Immigration Program applicant, the AIP applicant, can also get a work permit. That's where it becomes beautiful. You can get a work permit for up to 24 months, that's 2 years, so that they can work for their employer as their permanent residence application is being processed by the what? By the federal government. In fact, I still spoke to one of our clients today where he was talking about the quest of him searching for a job offer, and he wants to get a job offer that he will first be able to use for a temporary foreign worker work permit. Do you understand? Once he uses it for a work permit, earns a little money, then he can now process, or along with him processing his permanent residency. So for AIP, for Atlantic Immigration Program, it's very possible for you to get a work permit, work first, and actually do the PR as well. Now, the third program that requires a job offer, that still requires it, there's no how, you will still need a job offer for this program, is what? Is the Rural Community Immigration Pilot. Rural Community Immigration Pilot. It's just similar to the Rural and Northern Immigration Pilot, the RNIP, though this one is RCIP. They said earlier this year, the federal government announced the launch of the Rural Community Immigration Pilot, RCIP, to spread the benefits of immigration to smaller rural communities. And there are 14 communities selected to participate in this pilot. So that means if you go and get a job offer that is not in one of those 14 communities, then you are just wasting your time. Do you understand? For the Rural Community Immigration Pilot, you can use it for maybe PMP. You understand? That job offer, you can use it for PMP if they qualify, because PMP is much more vast in accepting any job offer you get. You understand? Now, they said to be eligible, candidates must meet certain eligibility criteria, including you must have the certain work experience they need. You must have that language proficiency. Some people always think if they go and look for a job, they are not going to need language tests. For permanent residency programs, whether be it PMP, AIP, RCIP, FCIP, or any which one, you will still need what? The language proficiency, whether be it English or French. And how will you show it? You cannot show it by maybe your bachelor's or your like. You show it by taking a language proficiency examination, whether be the IELTS, the CELPIP, the PT for English. And for French, you will need maybe the TEF Canada or the TCF Canada. And that's where, of course, we always come in, and we always say, if you want us to actually train you on any of those, then of course you can go on our website, ftc.aosacademy.com, you understand, and sign up. You register for our what? Register for our language trainings. If you register for our language trainings, we can actually take you whether for the English or for the what? Or for the French language trainings. So we'll train you, and we would also prepare you as well to take the exam, you understand, once you are ready and you are able to actually succeed in the exam. Now, moving on, we said, look at this. They said you require not just the job offer, but the work experience, the language proficiency, the educational qualification. So if it is bachelor's they require, you need to have a bachelor's. If it is secondary school diploma they require, you need to have that. If it is the master's, you need to, and proof of what? Proof of funds. Proof of funds too is also required for what? For this particular new rural community immigration pilot. Now, they said they must also have a genuine offer of employment from a designated employer within the community. So as I've told you, there are 14 communities that are actually in charge of this. So out of those 14 communities, you must get a job offer that will qualify you for that what? For that pilot program. And just like I do always say, there's a difference between a pilot program and a permanent program, or a full program. Do you understand? A fully fledged program. When we're talking about a pilot is just meant for a certain particular time. And the best example I can give you for the pilot programs is the pilot program that was done last month, March 31st, 2025. If you look at the caregiver, the home care provider pilot program, or the home care immigration pilot program, you will see that that pilot program, it got launched 31st of March, and it ended 31st of March within just 4 hours, because a lot of people were already qualified for it and they were filling in their applications as soon as it actually opened. Do you understand? So for many of these pilot programs, if they have meet their quota, because there's always a quota that they are focusing on, if they have meet their quota for that pilot, the pilot program will shut down. They will close the pilot or they will pause it, because yes, it has met it for that year, and if they are to open it again, they may say, okay, next year is when they will open it. Do you understand? But for that particular time, it has been closed. So the idea is you have to be swift, you have to be fast in actually applying, so that you are part of those that are selected for that particular pilot. You understand? In that particular time. Now let's move on. The next program, the fourth program in this sequence, is the Francophone Community Immigration Pilot. For those that are French speakers amongst us, they said Canada also launched the Francophone Community Immigration Pilots, the FCIP, earlier this year. And this is a pathway to permanent residency for foreign nationals with an intermediate level of French who want to work and settle in certain Canadian communities. When they say intermediate level, is within niveau B1 and niveau B2. You understand? Either the level B1 or the level B2. But how would they even know your level? They will know it by you taking a language test, whether it be the TEF Canada or the TCF Canada. And for this Francophone Community Immigration Pilot, they said six communities in total were chosen to participate in this pilot program. And of course, they said to be eligible, candidates need to demonstrate their work experience, their educational qualifications, their settlement funds, their language proficiency in French, and have a genuine letter of employment from a designated employer that meets the specific conditions. Now, those are four programs, pilot programs and full-fledged programs that requires job offer for you to be able to get eligible and get selected eventually. But we also have some temporary to permanent programs or temporary to permanent pathways. They said besides making foreign nationals eligible for certain PR pathways, having a job offer can also help foreign nationals to or temporary workers in Canada to qualify for express entry. Now, they said gaining CRS points through the Canadian work experience is a very good way. A job offer no longer awards applicants with CRS points under the arranged employment. But now, look at the but. Now, express entry candidates can still gain up to 180 points, 180 CRS points for Canadian work experience. So if you have a Canadian work experience of a year or 2 years or 3 years, you still stand a very good chance of getting selected by virtue of the job and the work experience you have in Canada. Now, they said getting a job offer to work for a Canadian employer on a temporary foreign work permit can be an important stepping stone in a foreign national's temporary to permanent status journey. And that's one of the ways, you understand, newly partnered consultants, immigration consultants, a regulated Canadian immigration consultant, and RCIC was talking about in the last monthly webinar we had, where he was saying people can actually get work permits to come into Canada first, especially the older ones, people that are above 40 or 50, you understand, to work first. And once you work, gain some experience, and from those experiences, you'll be able to apply for what we know as the CEC draws under express entry. I think they'll still talk about the CEC draws. Let's keep on reading. They now said the Canadian work experience is one of the factors listed under core or human capital factors of the CRS system. Even 1 year of Canadian work experience awards 40 points, 40 points. Do you understand? CRS points, which greatly improves a candidate's chances at receiving an ITA or receiving an invitation to apply for permanent residency in Canada. Now, here is a breakdown of how many points a foreign national stands to gain by having Canadian work experience under the core human capital. So now let's look at it. I told you if you have 1 year of experience, you stand a fair chance, 2 years, 3 years, as much as 5 years or more. The more years you have, the more points you get, and the better your chances. So if you're a Canadian, or if you are a Canadian resident, you have been working in Canada, you have some years of experience, and you are someone that you are with a spouse or a common law partner, or you are without a spouse or common law partner, there are different points that you get. If you have no years of experience or less than 1 year, that's 0 points. You don't get any score for that. But if you have at least 1 year of experience and you are with your spouse, you have 35 points. You gain 35 additional points. If you don't have any spouse, you are alone, just yourself, you have 40 points. If you have 2 years of Canadian experience, do you understand? You get 46 points if you are with your spouse or common law partner in Canada. But if you don't have any spouse or common law partner, you get 53 points. If you have 3 years of experience, do you understand? And you are with a spouse, you have 56 points that you gain in the express entry. But you don't have any spouse, you gain 64 points. If you have 4 years of experience, you understand, and you are with a spouse, 63 points. Without a spouse, you get 72 points. If you have 5 years or more, you get 70 points. Do you understand? And for those that are without a spouse or a common law partner, they get 80 points. So you can get as much as 80 points, as less as 35 points, depending on your years of experience, you understand, in Canada. Now look at this one. They said Canadian work experience can also contribute points under the skills transferability factors. And this is very important. Some people don't even know many of these skill transferability factors. In this section, candidates are given points based on how different qualifications, such as your language skills, your education, your Canadian work experience, and your foreign work experience combine. So those with Canadian work experience can earn points on the following. On the skill transferability, if you have Canadian work experience and a post-secondary degree, whether it be a degree, a diploma, you understand, a certificate at the tertiary level, you understand, whether NC, OND, HND, BSc, MSc, PhD, PGD, you get 50 points additional. So let's say you got the lowest point, which was 35 points for just 1 year of Canadian work experience. 35 points for plus 50 points because of your degree and your work experience can boost you up to 85 points. Do you understand? Now, Canadian work experience and foreign work experience, if you gathered your foreign work experience with your Canadian work experience, you can also get 50 points additional. Do you understand? And of course, the total points for that particular skill transferability factors are just 100 points. So if you have work experience in Canada, work experience in your home country, work experience in Canada, and your foreign or your post-secondary degree, you can get 100 additional points, which would boost your point, of course. Now, they said a candidate with Canadian work experience can score up to 100 CRS points by maximizing these two skill transferability factors. Now, this is the qualification or how to qualify well for the Canadian experience class. I think I said they will see it, and here we have it. They stated that the Canadian experience class, the CEC, is one of the 3 programs under the express entry. So if you don't qualify under the federal skilled worker program that would issue you points, either 50 points or 200 points for your arranged employment, to be eligible for the CEC, the candidate must have completed at least 1 year of full-time skilled work experience in Canada within the past 3 years. And of course, they said in 2025, IRCC would prioritize CEC candidates for express entry. Those that are in Canada, they will prioritize them for express entry. And this approach is in line with the express entry draws in late 2024 and early 2025, because we have been seeing that they have been alternating between the CEC draws and the provincial nominee program draws and even the French language proficiency draws. In contrast, express entry has not held a general draw since April 2024. It shows that they are focusing on those in Canada first. You understand? So please, for foreign nationals, securing a job offer and gaining at least 1 year of skilled work experience in Canada can significantly improve your chances of receiving an invitation to apply for permanent residency under the CEC draw, just like you understand, the immigration consultant have said in the last webinar we had. Oh, okay. We have a question from Doyin. Doyin is asking, please, can you shed more light on the federal skilled workers? Now, federal skilled workers, I mean, or I hope you mean the federal skilled worker program, right? Under the express entry. When it comes to the federal skilled worker programs under the express entry, you have to know that that program now is very, very competitive. However, based on the reduction of the arranged employment points, so people were not getting points for 50, they were not getting that 50 points or 200 points based on the arranged employment. So now we anticipate that the points, instead of being 500 and above for general jobs, is going to reduce. You understand? The CRS scores that people require to actually qualify for the federal skilled worker program would reduce now. Do you understand? But even in the reduction, you have to understand that Canada is going to pick the best of the best. And what that means is that if you are part of those that are above 40 years of age, it may be more difficult for you to get selected through the express entry federal skilled worker program. If you are part of those that don't have at least dual certificates or a master's, it may be more difficult for you to get selected under federal skilled worker program. If you are part of those that don't have at least 3 years or more years of experience, work experience, whether be it from Nigeria, from Ghana, from any of your home country, you may find it more difficult. And again, for many people that are in Canada that already have at least 1 year of experience, they will be more qualified than you who don't have at least 1 year of experience working in Canada. And lastly, many times people forget the spousal factors when it comes to federal skilled worker program. If you are coming with someone that you can work together, like your spouse, your boyfriend, girlfriend, or anybody, that you can work together to maximize the point, you may stand a fair chance than someone that is just coming alone and doesn't really have good points on maybe like the language assessment. You understand? The ECA doesn't have dual certification, work experience doesn't have years of experience. So basically, what we are trying to say is, for federal skilled worker program to stand a fair chance, you need to have very good competitive points. CRS points. I, for instance, that I'm in Canada, I always tell people every time I have the opportunity, I wasn't selected through the federal skilled worker program of the express entry. I wasn't selected through express entry. I went through the back door, which is what? The PNP, the provincial nominee program. Why? Because see, it is very competitive to come through the federal skilled worker program. It's not that it's not possible, it's possible, but you have to be part of the best to get qualified. So if you are not the best of the best, go to the back. You understand? PMP is a way out for you. If you are still back home in Nigeria or in any other place that you are, go through the back door. PMPs. Oh, you know French, beautiful. You can even come through the FSWP. Now that gives us, or that takes us to the category-based selections. The category-based selections under the express entry, especially under the federal skilled worker program. If you are into any of the categories that have been selected for the year 2025, you stand a very good chance. And of course, for those that know, there are 6 categories that can allow you, that can permit you, that can give you that opportunity to get selected. The number one category, the number one important category, which we have been seeing that they have been selecting right now, they have started selecting this 2020, 2025 then is the what? Is the French skilled worker program, or the French speaking, not skilled worker, sorry, that is Ontario. The French speaker stream, or the French language proficiency category. It's not a stream, it's a category. The French language, you understand, category. So if you can speak French and you can write, and that is why we say we at A.O.S abroad, we can assist those that want to, those that are serious with immigration. If you are serious with immigration and you want to really come into Canada, you see yourself being a Canadian resident within this year or next, you can sign up on our website, aosacademy.com, where we are going to train you, you understand, on how to speak French and how to prepare for either the TEF Canada or the TCF Canada examination. Or if you are going to Quebec, you can prepare for the DELF exam, the DELF B2, you understand, or the DELF C1, to be able to what? To be able to prepare for the exam and to get selected under what? To get selected under the category. The French language proficiency category is a very good category you can get selected, you understand, under. So please don't take it for joke. Now that's the number one category. The second category that you can get selected under is what we know as the healthcare and social services occupations. Healthcare and social services occupation. Now, it's not for everybody, you have to understand. Because if you are not in the healthcare or social service occupations, if you don't have experience in that line, you may not get selected. But it is a very good occupation now, because now they have added, before it was just the healthcare occupations, but now they have added the social services occupations to it, making it a broader category and making more people qualified for it if you actually have experience in that line. Now, the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics occupation, the STEM occupations, is another category you can get selected under. If you are a scientist, you are a technologist, you are an engineer, you are a mathematician, you can get selected under that. The trade occupations, Onisha, you are an handy person, you are a mechanic, you are a plumber, you are a dog, you understand? Any of the trade occupations that is accepted right now, because it's not all your trades that you even know already that is accepted. There are some trade occupations that are not accepted. You understand? Like in this place now, they said if you are a roofer, you are a shingler, you are a painter, you are a decorator, you are a floor covering installer, you are a water or well driller, you are an electrical mechanic, you are a carpenter, you are a plumber, you are a cabinet maker, a bricklayer, an electrician, an industrial electrician, a welder, you understand, a cook, a construction manager, and home builder or renovation manager, you stand a fair chance of getting selected. Another one is the agriculture and agri-food occupations, and that one just has one. If you are a butcher, you stand a very good chance, whether a retail butcher or an wholesale butcher. And lastly, the education occupations, which was the new one they added to the category. The education occupation is for those that are elementary and secondary school assistants, teacher assistants, or elementary and secondary school teachers, or you are instructors of persons with disabilities, or you are early childhood educator or assistant. You stand a very good, you understand, chance of getting selected. So I hope that answers all the categories you can get selected under the express entry. If you know, and if you want to learn more about how to actually get selected, if you want to get educated on what you need to do in order to get selected, whether for the what, the PMP draws or for the express entry draws, visit, you understand, this website, aos.nim.ng/PR, and you get educated through that website how you could what, how you could get started or get qualified for permanent residency under, whether be the express entry federal skilled worker program, the federal skill trades program, the Canadian experience class, the provincial nominee programs, or the category based draws. You can get educated on how to, you understand, be nominated or to be selected or be invited through that. So thank you very much everyone for actually joining. If you have any questions, drop it on the comment section. Even after this live session, we can always take the questions later on. Do you understand? And don't forget to like, share, and also subscribe to your friends and family. Let more and more people know about this and actually be joining. As you know, every week at least we always have one live session, whether on Tuesday, you understand, Thursday or Fridays, or depending on any time we get valid newsletter articles like this, or you understand, updates, news updates that are worth sharing. We can come on live and share it and also educate our audience and also get to answer more questions from people. So if you have any questions, you understand, you can drop it on the comment section. You can also DM or send us a direct message and we would also respond to you. Our virtual assistant is always on standby to respond to any queries that you have. So don't forget to always join us every week. This same place, whether be it on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, or on TikTok, would always be there answering your questions. So thank you very much, everyone, and do have a lovely day ahead. Bye for now. Au revoir.